1971 to 1974. Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler.
Game 485, Marlins at Phillies.
Welcome back, baseball fans. 1971-74 Summer Carryover League. We got a series in the National League East between the Marlins and the Phillies. Yes, we are in just beginning the elimination round of the tournament for the bottom feeders. So we've had all 8 first and second place teams play. Just a quick review of that. Turns out half the teams in second place climbed the mountain. Toronto was an easy mountain. They were half a game back, but they were playing Baltimore, and again, they're a fictional team anyway. And they did it. They beat Baltimore 4-2. So they came back. Tigers were 3 back. They needed to go 6-2. They went 6-1. They're in first place. We have the Cubs. They were 2 back. They needed to go 5-2. They went 5-2. And we have the Giants. They were 2.5 back. They needed to go 5-2. They went 5-2. So the mountain can be climbed, folks. The other teams, White Sox and Oakland, held off their weak competition, as did the Atlanta Braves and Portland. Not much competition from their second place squads. So now we're going to start eliminating teams. 3rd and 4th place. And we start here. The 3rd and 4th place teams in the National League East. The Phillies have a +3 tiebreaker against the Marlins. They beat them 4-1 the first time they met. They also happen to have a 3-game lead. The unfortunate math for the Marlins is that 5-2 would only leave them tied and tied with a tiebreaker. So you got to play the tiebreaker. They'd be dead even, head-to-head and in the standings at 5-2. So they need to go 6-2. Oh boy. Detroit did it. They need to go 6-2. They did it. But Philadelphia and Florida is a different animal here. Game 1 in Florida. Steve Carlton, Steve Harlan. Different kind of Steves. One is a Cy Young winner, and in the first inning, Gary Maddox triples, Boa singles him in. Bottom of the third, lefty runs into some trouble. A double by Ellie Rodriguez, single by Hal McRae, double by Davalillo. The Marlins take a 2-1 lead. It's short-lived in the 4th. A solo homer by Callison to tie it. RBI triple by McCarver. 3-2. They add a run in the 7th on a Boa single, knocking in Maddox. 4-2. Lefty goes the distance. 9 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, a walk and 10 Ks. Phillies beat the Marlins in Game 1, 4-2. On the road. Game 2. And then Game 2. If you've watched the Marlins play the Braves in the previous series, you see a team that plays well enough to win, but never does. Wayne Twitchell against Bruce Del Canton. Nothing going on in this game. Something about the Florida heat and humidity. The players just sort of, jog into position, and there's not much activity. You know those games, folks. If you're ever in a summer softball league in August, you know what I'm talking about. Like, get this thing over with. Anyway, Mike Schmidt, solo homer in the 6th inning, 1-0. Stays that way until the 9th inning when Florida brings their closer in to keep it 1-0, and he gives up a double, a single, a double. Even though Denny Dole got thrown out the plate on that double, a run scored. 2-zip. So what does the Marlins do? They do what they've been doing all year for me. Right about to lose the game, they potentially put a rally together, and they're going to leave guys on base. They get a single by Ellie Rodriguez, a walk by Hal McRae, an RBI single by Guerrero. Runners in the corners, nobody out, and what's now a 2-1 game. 2 guys on base. Joe Horner comes in for Philadelphia. He strikes out Roger Repos. He strikes out Severino Sanchez, walks Davalillo, then gets Felix Millan the ground out. Because that's what the Florida Marlins do. They're the biggest tease. They teased the Braves series to think they had a shot. They teased the Phillies in 2 relatively competitive games, but they still lose. That's what the Marlins do. Their net runs was probably pretty good. I have to look at their net runs. It's probably reasonable with a team with such an awful record. Let's go take a look at that now as well. So their awful record, so you can visualize the math here. There you go. So there's 5 games left for the Marlins. And the good news is they don't have to play all 5. As soon as they are mathematically out, that's the beauty of this league, we stop playing. And so the Marlins would have to rip off 6 straight wins. 5 wins in the 7 games, and then they just call it a tiebreaker. Even the Phillies would have the percentage points lead if we went to a 3rd tiebreaker, head-to-head and 1-loss record. Percentage points, Philadelphia still be ahead. So it's got to be 6 straight wins. From here on out, don't think it's going to happen. Like to see it end right now, but who knows. And I tell you, folks, the Mets kind of made a mistake by beating the Phillies, meaning that they had to play the Braves at a chance of the division. And now they're 3 under 500, and the Phillies are a game over 500. Most likely, this will flip, and the Mets will find themselves in 3rd place. They're going to have to play a 2nd place team in this division, one of these 3 teams. Good luck with that, Mets. And the Phillies have a chance to knock out one of these 3 teams who just doesn't have a lot of wins and losses because they've been playing each other. So let's get started. Game 3 from the city of brotherly love. Leading off for the Marlins is Vic Davalillo. We'll do the pitching at the end of the frame here now. 1-7, double 1 of 10 is a double. Celerino Sanchez, 2-5, pops to short. Willie Montanez batting 3rd instead of 4th now, trying something. 3-10 flies right. Here are 8 games under 500. I think you can take some liberties with your lineup. 2-7 is a strikeout. 3 up and 3 down. Oh, the pitching matchups. The Marlins are going to go with Ken Reynolds. They're rewarding him with a start. He's actually their starter 5. He's been pitching out of the bullpen, and he unfortunately had to take the 2 extra inning losses in those long games against the Braves. So they want to give him a chance of getting a win in a start. Ironically enough, against the team he played for, the Phillies. Ken Reynolds played for them in 72. 2-15 with a 4.27 ERA and 154 innings. Hoping the Phillies are overconfident. Those Phillies I just mentioned will send Pat Dobson out there, acquired in the Grant Jackson deal. His Baltimore card of 71, one of those 4 20-game winners. 20-8 with a 2.90 ERA. Having a so-so kind of year. Okay. Leading off now for the Phillies is Gary Maddox. 56, 2nd X. Meon's a 2E10. Makes the play. Tony Taylor, 37, is a K. And Greg Lazinski, 5'12", 2nd X. They're not calling him the Bull yet. They'll call him that next year. He's a 2E10. Thanks to play. Just Greg. Top of 2. Manny Mota, 2-7. Grounds a 2nd. Felix Mion, 67 Ks. Their Marlins juggle their lineup today, trying to get something going. Marty Martinez, and nothing going yet. It's scoreless. Darren Johnson, 66 left. Mike Schmidt, 67K. Roy Foster. Hats off to Roy Foster with a single. And Terry Harmon, 410. Center X. Who's roaming center field? That would be me. Mota. 4E2 in center. It's going to be a double. 2nd and 3rd for Boa. 59. That's homer 1 of 10 double. It's going to be a single, 2-run single. And Bob Boone. 1-3. Bob Boone. Let's take a look at the Bob Boone card. Getting a rare start as McCarver is usually the starter. 73 Boone's first full year, 261, 10 home runs. Does not have the strong throwing arm yet. That's going to come soon. But here, 1-3 is homer 1 of 4 double, and this is just what the Phillies wanted. A quick start and a chance to win this series 3-0. Bo's going to try and score from first on that double, and he does on a roll of a 6. Just what the Phillies needed. Gary Maddox. 1-6, triple 1 of 13. That's a triple, folks. 4-0. Tony Taylor. 1-7's a K. We go to the 3rd inning. Ellie Rodriguez. 1-9. That's a base hit. Roger Repos, 36 is a walk. Here come the Marlins. I always say this, and it never works. Vic Davalillo, 310. Flies to right B, plus an injury, and there goes your all-star left fielder. Oh well. Luis Melendez will come in for him. My goodness. He'll go to center, and actually Muno goes to left. Celerino Sanchez, 47, is a K, and with 2 outs, it's Willie Montanez. See, told you, he Ks. 2 on, nobody out, they don't do anything. That's the Marlins. They've been doing that for 25, 30 games. Same old Marlins. Greg Luzinski, they're probably hitting 270 as a team, if I had to guess. But we'll see. 67, Luzinski's a K. Darren Johnson, 1-8, is a K. Mike Schmidt, 65, second. I think the Phillies think 4 might be enough. We go to the 4th. Hal McRae, 2-7, K. Manny Mota, 43, pitcher X. Dobson's an E10. Makes the play. Felix putting me on. 2-7, pops a second. Bottom of the 4th. Roy Foster, 2-7. That's going to be double 1-8. Base hit. Terry Harmon, 59. Again off the Reynolds card, 1-10. It's a single. On the corners, I got to bring it up for the 8 bunting Boa. 65, second C. Second and third, they'll bring it up for Boone to keep it close. 1-9. There's a clean single to center field. Harmon will hold a third. Runners on the corners are going to bring it up for Gary Maddox. 2-9 short. Runners hold second and third with 2 outs for Tony Taylor. 5-12, second X. Mian, a 2E10 second baseman, makes the play. Keeps this reasonable at 5-zip into the 5th. Marty Martinez. 33, pops to third. Ellie Rodriguez, 57, Ks. And Roger Repos, 2-8, grounds to first. Well, maybe the Marlins have quit that nasty habit of making me play extra inning games, as they played an 11, 19, and 20 inning game. 3 extra inning games in the series with the #1 seeded Braves. They are clearly laying down today with their suitcases packed. Greg Luzinski, bottom of the 5th. 2-6, single 1-13 is a base hit. Darren Johnson, 67 is a K. Schmidt, 5'11 is a K. And with 2 outs, Roy Foster, 43, left X. Mota's now in left field. And he's a 3E2. Much better in the corner. Makes the catch. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay, top of the 6th inning of a 5-0 affair. It'll be Luis Melendez in the new leadoff spot. 68 is a K. This is just what they hoped Pat Dobson would bring the Phillies. Some starting pitching from Baltimore to team up with Steve Carlton. Plus you got Mike Schmidt and you got Gary Maddox. They're hoping that all these maneuvers in the offseason is what it takes to be a contender, or at least get that mid-70s Philly thing started. A little early here, but 54, center X. Weak competition will help in this case. 3-13, and that's a single off of Gary Maddox. He's not quite the fielder yet. He would become. Montanez, 2-3. Ah, there's your 4-6-3 double play. Right on cue. Montanez trots down to first base. He was also a former Philly. Maybe these guys were playing poker the night before. Bottom of the 6th. Reynolds will face the bottom half, and then we'll see. Terry Harmon, 37's a walk. Boa, 2-5, pops to first. Bob Boone, 58, there's triple, 1-10, double. That's a triple. And yeah, that's more than enough. That's more than enough for Ken Reynolds. No, you're... yeah. Sad, really. Jose Pena will try and finish this inning out. The 7th inning, he'll face... Hey, at least I'll get done quickly here. That's the good news. Gary Maddox. Runner at third. Infield comes up for Maddox. 65 Ks. And with 2 outs, Tony Taylor. And there's an RBI single. Guys, it should be showing your cards. That's the... We'll start doing that as we get into the latter innings here. Dobson in the 7th. It'll be Hal McRae. 64 pops to short. Manny Mota, let's take a look at the All-Star. Yes, Mota. Mota was, of course, a Dodger in 72, hitting .323, but he will be a lifetime Marlin, as they took him in the expansion draft, and they're going to use his pinch hitting ability ultimately to become a full-time DH and kind of bend those rules and get his high batting average. And look, the Marlins need all the help they can get, so if they get Manny Mota to be a full-time DH instead of a pinch hitter, good for them. 5'8", skies to center field. And Felix Mian, 56, flies to left field. Stretch time here in the city of brotherly love. They have a 7-0 lead. They've won 2 straight. We have been enjoying love is the message. The city of brotherly love is the message. MFSB, mother, father, sister, brother, 1973 LP, featuring the 3 Degrees. Touch Me in the Morning, The Sound of Philadelphia. Yeah, great stuff from these cats. It's Nile Rodgers in this band. They later formed Chic, maybe, something like that. Great stuff by MFSB. Okay. Bottom of the 7th. We're going to go to Bergmeyer now. They're going to trot the rest of their bullpen out in a it's now or never moment. Bergmeyer comes on in the 7th, and he'll face Greg Luzinski. Did we get the final at-bat in the 7th inning? I'm sure we did. I just didn't write it in there. Okay. It's going to be Darren Johnson leading off. There we go. 67 is a K. Mike Schmidt. 58 left. Foster, 47. Single 108. Lines out. All right. 8th inning for Pat Dobson. I think they're going to pull him after 7 with a... Well, he's got a shutout. I guess got to leave him in there. Marty Martinez. 5'10", center X. Maddox a 3-13. This time he makes the play. Ellie Rodriguez, 2-9, grounds to second. And Roger Repos flies to right field. Nope, no sir. No sir. No show. No show for the Marlins. No fight, no dog, no nothing. They are about to be the first team eliminated. Bottom of the 8th inning. Now to be their... Here's an interesting story. Orlando Pena. Long career that started in the mid-50s. Had some pretty awful seasons for the KCAs in there. But he stuck it around long enough, missed some seasons, and he's like 40 years old in 1973, and he has one of his better years. 4-4 with a 2.18 ERA in 62 innings. Nice little feel-good story for Orlando Pena. He'll be around for a couple more years for the Marlins. Enjoying this 1973 car we got him in. He'll face Terry Harmon. 68, single 1 at 12, lines out on a 13. Larry Boa, skies a left. Bob Boone, 55. Short X, who's at short? It is Marty Martinez, a 4E18. No, it's a single. And Gary Maddox, 45. That is a fly to left. 9th inning for Pat Dobson. He has put just 3 singles out there. No walks, 3 batters over the minimum. His best performance this season at the precise moment when they need it. To get a 3-0, this is going to shake the National League up. Nobody wanted to see the Phillies emerge. Not when you have so many veteran teams fighting and clawing in the National League. They didn't want to get this young Philly team a chance. They were the worst team in the league a year ago, and that's all about to change here. Luis Melendez, 58, lives right. Celerino Sanchez, 2-9, single. Let's take a look at Willie Montanez's card. Former Philly in 71 with 30 bombs and a 255 average. They would not keep him because they had Darren Johnson. When Darren Johnson is gone, they're going to have to figure out who's going to be their first baseman before Pete Rose arrives much later in the decade. Probably could be Tom Hutton, or I don't know who else it could be. But anyway, it's Willie Montanez for the Marlins. 69, off Dobson's a single. Chance to wreck the shutout. And we got Hal McRae. Let's take a look at Hal. Yeah, your Kansas City Royal. They couldn't keep all their players because they're a talented system, the Kansas City system, so they let the designated hitter go. Smart move, keeping starters, relievers, position players, even though McRae will hit 300 virtually every year moving forward. The expansion Marlins made him one of their first picks, so that was a good move for these Marlins. They just need to surround Hal McRae with some more talent. 2-3, ground ball short B. Runners on the corners, 2 outs, and it's Manny Mota, 38, bounce to short, it's over. Pat Dobson, you are the sole survivor. You get the complete game shutout. And yeah, beating the Marlins 7-zip. We'll take a look at the box here. As the puzzling Marlins, we know one thing, they don't win. But the other thing puzzling is when they play well, when they don't play well. That's, yeah. Lando Pena gave up a single. Bergmeyer struck out a guy. Jose Pena gave up a single and a K. Not the kind of start that Ken Reynolds wanted to finish with. 10 hits, 7 runs. Oh boy. Yep. A walk. 7 strikeouts for Ken Reynolds. How about that? Gotta put a little silver lining in there. 1009, 0108, 71205, 1719. 3-game sweep. We'll take you right through the process here of assigning the matchups. First we do the cumulative box now. The Phillies find themselves at 6 games ahead of the Marlins, so that's a plus of 12. So the Phillies are plus 2, which means the Marlins are minus 10. Yeah. So the Phillies are 17-15, in reasonably good shape in the next round, facing a competitive National League North. They'll be the underdog as a team, but the record might give them a favorable chance of needing something easier than a best of 5. We'll have to look at that a little closely. They're only hitting .256. They got a .301 ERA. Pat Dobson is now evened his record up to 4-4 with 3 complete games. Mike Schmidt went to the All-Star game with 8 homer and 17 RBI, as did Tony Taylor's utility player, 38 for 129. Steve Carlton, though, has 7 complete games, just 5-3, but 21 runs in 90 innings. That's a .210 ERA, so that's fine for that 27-win card. Now your Marlins. Yep, 9-19, their season is over. They hit .261 with a .412 ERA. Net runs, they scored 109. Well, actually, the net runs wasn't that good either. They gave up 143. That's a net of 34. Yeah, and they lost. They were 10 under. I thought it'd be closer. They must have been blown out and out. Well, they got blown out in that game by 7, so yeah. Their merits are, you know, that bullpen is pretty clever. Jose Pena does 3 runs in 23 innings. I showed you the Orlando Pena card. Tom Bergmeyer's good. He had a rough year, but he's a good pitcher. Batting averages, you have 44 hits for Davalillo, who got hurt in that game. You have Mota leading the National League in hitting at one point, at the All-Star break, actually, with 40 hits. You do have Hal McRae for the foreseeable future. So that's how it goes. 9-19. And the Phillies are 17-15. Where are we here? We are over here. Phillies are 17-15, and the Marlins are 9-19. So those combined records here are -8. Yep, Florida needed a 3-2, but Philadelphia, who was 14-15, got a 3-0. So they're 17-15. So they are in second place, clearly, over the Mets. 17-15, 2 games over 500 in second place. So we can look at one of the matchups they will have in the next round, in the elimination round. National League East team here, we're going to put Philadelphia there, and they're 2 games over 500. We don't know who their opponent will be, but it will be from the National League North. It could be either the Cardinals or the winner of Reds Pirates. that's who the Phillies will face. They'll be the underdog, but they might have an advantageous one-loss record. So we'll see how that goes. That's it today from Philadelphia. Break up your Phillies. 3 straight wins over the fading Marlins. We'll eliminate them in the next video. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.